दुनिया में कुछ लोग कहते हैं और कुछ लोग करते हैं।
Billionaire industrialist Gautam Adani, chairman of the Adani Group, has become Asia's richest individual, overtaking Reliance Industries chairman Mukesh Ambani, according to the latest Bloomberg Billionaires Index.
What if I tell you, around 8 lakhs crores of money disappeared in just 2 weeks? Not from a country, not from a government budget, but from one man's business empire.
Adani Group stocks continue to be under pressure. All group stocks posting major cuts in today's trade. The group's market cap has fallen below 8 lakh crore rupees. That is for today. This is the biggest single day fall in the last 2 weeks.
And the man who lost it, he did not run, he did not hide, rather he came back stronger. This is the story of Gautam Adani.
Overseas India's largest private seaport network is the country's biggest renewable energy producer and private airport operator and ranks among the world's largest gold traders.
I have long believed there are no final destinations in the life of an explorer.
Who started his business career with 5 lakh rupees and built one of the biggest business empire in Indian history.
The Adani Group is under attack by a research firm called the Hindenburg Research. On the 24th of January, it published a report. It claimed that the Adani Group is engaged in stock market manipulation.
Now, that report by Forbes reinforced Hindenburg's allegations of the Adani Group's involvement in accounting fraud and stock manipulation.
India's Gautam Adani is no longer Asia's richest person after his conglomerate stocks plummeted following a short seller report. Adani lost $13 billion in his net worth, pushing him down to the 15th spot on the Forbes rich list from the previous third ranking.
Wall Street nearly collapsed overnight and then rebuilt it again. Through this video, we are going to break down exactly how he rebuilt his empire again and what you as a business owner can learn from it. Before that, I am Omnath Sharma, founder and director of Catchup Consultant, and if you are someone who wants to understand business practically, not just theoretically, hit that subscribe button because every single video we make is built to actually add value to you. One of the cities where business grew from the root, Ahmedabad. Gautam Adani was born there in 1962. His father ran a small textile shop. By looking at his family's condition, no one ever thought that Gautam Adani will be future billionaire. At 16, he dropped out of school, not because he failed, but because he was bored. Rather going to school forcefully by his parents, he moved to Mumbai and got a job of sorting diamonds for a trading firm. He did it for 3 years. But while he sorted, he watched. He saw how commodity trading worked, how margins were made, how international buyers thought of trading. When he was spending time in that environment, he was not building anything at that time, but he was understanding the game of trading. In 1981, his older brother bought a small plastic factory in Ahmedabad and asked Gautam to run it. For the next 7 years, Gautam imported raw material called PVC resin, built relationship with international suppliers, and slowly, quietly saved money. By 1988, he had saved around 5 lakh rupees. With that, he started Adani Exports. The idea was simple: import something, export other thing, earn the margin in the middle. But in 1991, India opened up its economy. Trade restrictions fell. Import-export business boomed. People were really excited because Adani was already in place, and when their IPO came in 1994, it was oversubscribed by 25 times. By this time, he had money, credibility, and a very clear vision of what India was missing, and he had the nerve to go after it. Around 1991, one of the world's biggest agriculture companies, Cargill, came to Adani with a proposal to build a port together at Mundra in Gujarat with 50-50 partnership. By that time, the Indian government changed the rules. Port could now be built with full foreign ownership. Cargill immediately renegotiated the deal and demanded 89% of the share where Adani would get 11% share only. Adani refused the deal and walked away. Everyone thought he was making a mistake by saying no to Kargil. People said, you should not refuse 11% when you have almost nothing. But here's what Adani saw that others didn't. He was completely on a different mission. He did not just see a business opportunity. Rather, he saw a massive hole in Indian economy. He decided he would fill it by himself. Before that, he had watched Kandla port, India's biggest port at that time. He had also seen from close how broken it was. Ships waited for days, cargo got delayed. Every trader, every manufacturer, every importer in the Western India was losing money because India's port simply did not work. In 1995, the Gujarat government announced a port management contract at Mundra. Adani won it. He built the first jetty himself. Then he built a full special economic zone around the port, where factories could import raw material, make products and export them all in the same area. One day, standing at the same port, watching ships come in, he asked a question that changed everything. The question was, what does this port depend on? And what depends on this port? The answer came quickly in his mind. India's power sector ran on coal. Coal had to be imported, and that imported coal needed ports to arrive. Then it needed roads and railways to move inland. Power plant needed a steady supply of coal. And every factory in his special economic zone needed electricity. So he moved in every direction that he needed at that time. In 2006, Adani became India's largest coal importer, bringing in around 11 million tons per year. In 2008, he bought coal mines in Indonesia and Australia. He was no longer just trading coal. He was going all the way to the source. Then in 2009, Adani Power started generating electricity. By 2014, it had grown to become India's largest private thermal power producer in just 5 years. His focus was not only on coal, but at the same time in 2011, he made another bigger bet. He built India's largest solar plant that was just 40 megawatt, small by today's standard. But it was a very big project at that time. The pattern was always the same. Find what the economy needs, build the infrastructure for it, go one level back to the source, then one step forward to the customer until you own the entire chain. Adani proved this through his empire he built. This was not random growth. In the diversification process, every new piece made old piece stronger. Let's come to 2014. The speed of Adani's expansion shifted into completely different gear. In 2018, the Indian government privatized 6 airports, Jaipur, Lucknow, Ahmedabad and 3 others, on 50-year leases. Adani had zero experience running airports. He bid for all 6. He won all 6. People were confused. What does a port and coal company know about airports? But Adani was thinking the same way he always thought. Airports are just physical infrastructure. They have fixed, guaranteed passenger traffic. Mainly airports have 50-year visibility on revenue. He was not buying the operations of an airport. He was buying 5 decades of guaranteed footfall in the fastest growing aviation market in the world. Today, Adani runs 7 airports, including Mumbai International too. Then came the cement move. In 2022, Adani acquired Ambuja Cements and ACC Limited, the 2 of India's biggest cement companies, for around $10.5 billion. He had never been in cement business before in his life. Overnight, he became India's second largest cement manufacturer. I hope you also thought, why cement? Right. The answer was simple. Adani was already building ports, airports, roads, power plants all over India. Every single one of those projects needed massive amount of cement. By owning cement production, he reduced cost across his entire group while also capturing India's infrastructure boom as built-in customer base. One acquisition, 2 benefits feeding back into whole system. This is not diversification. This is a system thinking about itself. Now comes the part of the story that the whole world watched. January 24th, 2023, a small American research firm called Hindenburg Research published a 106-page report on Adani Group. What did the report say? Serious allegations that Adani stock prices were artificially inflated through shell companies, that there were accounting irregularities, that revenues were not what they seemed. The timing was brutal.
Dear friends, after a fully subscribed FPO, yesterday's decision of his withdrawal would have surprised many. But considering the volatility of the market seen yesterday, our board strongly felt that it would not have been morally correct to proceed with the FPO. This decision will not have any impact on our existing operations as well as our future plans.
Adani Group was in the middle of raising around 20,000 crore from public investors, the biggest such fundraise in Indian corporate history. The report landed right in the middle of it. Market crashed immediately. Adani total gas fell around 56%. In just 2 weeks, around 8 lakh crore was wiped from the group's total value. Banks stopped accepting Adani shares as a security for loans. The 20,000 crore fundraise was cancelled. A large loan that Adani had taken just months earlier to buy the cement companies suddenly looked very dangerous. By any honest measure, this was the most dangerous moment in the group's history. Here is what most people expect: a press conference, a big emotional speech, denial, anger. Gautam Adani did none of that. Within around 6 weeks of the report, he prepaid approximately $2 billion in loans that were backed by his own shares. Why? Because those loans were like a loaded gun pointed at his head. If stock prices kept falling, lenders could have forced him to sell his assets immediately at crashed prices. And when you sell assets cheap, prices fall further, which means more forced selling, which means more price crash. On and on until nothing is left. He saw that trap and he diffused it before anyone could pull the trigger. Then he did something smarter than any press release and something that no one would ever think of. GQG Partners, one of the most respected investment firm in the world, did their investigation and in March 2023 bought around $2 billion worth of Adani Group shares. Think about what that signal meant. A serious global investor with no reason to lie put $2 billion on the table and said, I checked and I trust this. Qatar Investment Authority followed. Abu Dhabi investors followed. Big, serious, long-term money. And the numbers proved them right. By financial year 2025, the group's earning before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization, EBITDA, basically the real cash the business generates before taxes and loan payment are deducted, crossed around 90,000 crore. Net profit reached around 40,000 crore. India's market regulator SEBI dismissed significant portions of the Hindenburg allegations in September 2025. Finally, the empire survived. But the story did not end here. In late 2024, US federal prosecutors charged Adani with alleged of paying bribes of over $250 million to secure solar energy contract in India. In January 2026, group shares fell around 10% again. That case is still active today. Whether the empire survives the second storm, we don't know yet. So, what does all this mean to you as someone running or building a business today? There are 3 lessons that every business owner must understand through this rise and fall of Adani Group. Lesson 1. Look for the problem everyone is ignoring. Adani never asked, what can I sell? He asked, what is broken around me that nobody is fixing? Now, that's a different vision from the business owners. India's ports were a mess. Ships waited for days, cargo got stuck. Every business in Western India was losing money because of it. And nobody wanted to fix it because it required too much capital, too much patience and too much risk. Adani fixed all the problems. Because of this problem-solving approach, everyone started depending on Adani. People trusted him so much that no one else could replace him. Look around your own business. What is the one thing your entire industry depends on, but nobody is doing well? That is your opportunity, not the crowded market And if you are able to solve the problem, you will always win in that business and no one will be able to replace you. Lesson 2. Never let someone else hold the key of your business. When Adani himself depended on someone else's port, he decided to build his own. When he depended on someone else's coal supply, he bought his own mines. When he needed cement for every project, he bought a cement company. Every time he found something his business could not survive without, he went and owned it. Now think about your business. Who holds the key right now? A single supplier who can increase prices tomorrow, a distributor who can drop you next month, a platform that can shut your account anytime. That person is your biggest risk. The day you own that key yourself, your business became 10 times stronger than you have today. Lesson 3. When everything is falling, fix first. Speak later. When the Hindenburg report dropped, every advisor in the room probably said, call a press conference, release a statement, fight back publicly. But Adani did the opposite. He quietly paid off the most dangerous loans first. Then he got a respected global investor to put $2 billion into his company. That one action told the world more than 1,000 press releases could. Most business owners do it backwards. They talk first and fix later, and by the time they finished explaining, the damage is already done. Fix the problem, then tell the story. Now, let me leave you with this. Gautam Adani started with 5 lakh rupees and his brother's small plastic factory. He built an empire worth over 20 lakh crore over time. And he also watched around 8 lakh crore disappearing in a few weeks. But he came back later. The story is not clean. There are multiple allegations, ongoing cases, and there are questions that don't have answers yet. But here is one thing that is very clear. A first generation businessman from a middle class Ahmedabad family with no background, no connections, no head start, built one of the largest private enterprise in Indian history. The question is not, how do I become Adani? The question is, which one of these 3 lessons applies to your business right now? Comment down below and we will see you in the next video.